Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me here on WLBT Plus. My name is Cara Shirley, and I am your digital news desk host. We have got a lot of stuff to get to today. What we're actually waiting on right now is a press conference that is about to start regarding the damage from last Thursday night. It's at the city meeting room, City Hall. We are live there right now. And looks like they are getting going. We're going to go ahead and take it over to there.
We did have one fatality, and Miss Susan Collop, she lived on the northeast part of our city off of Summerwood. Tragically, a tree landed on her, so our thoughts and prayers go out to the family. We had another injured man. It was a minor injury. He sustained a bump on his head from a fallen tree. But as I did say, 73 down trees, 26 down power lines Thursday night. Can't say enough the job that our firemen, our police officers, and our public works employees did that night. They got out there and got after it. They made me really, really proud. And Therese just provided an update about 2 of our parks being closed and the municipal course. For us, and what I'm thinking when we're talking about a situation or actually a circumstance like this, you're going to attack the things that are most important. So right now it's cleaning up our neighborhoods. That's primary, and so we're going to address that, get our neighborhoods cleaned up, which asks for our people to be patient with us, but we will get it done. And secondly, then we'll get these parks back open, but we want to make sure our neighborhoods are passable, and then we get the debris. There's a lot of damage done in Pearl, Mississippi. I know I have my brother-in-law, he actually works at the airport. They recorded winds of 105 on Thursday night. So again, for our citizens out there, if you need anything, please call us, but I do ask you to be patient. We do have a lot of debris on the road. And once again, the job that our city employees and our first responders did was tremendous. And I'm going to turn it over to Brian Grantham. He's the director of Rankin EOC at this time.
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon. My name is Brian Grantham. I'm the director of Rankin County Emergency Operations, and I just wanted to give you an overview countywide of the damage that we had, which does include the city of Pearl. At this time, we have 44 homes that had either minor to moderate tree damage on the house. We have 1 commercial building that sustained damage and 1 nonprofit organization that sustained some type of tree damage to the roof or to the home itself. We are currently in the process of determining the severity of the damage to each one of those and getting those labeled for our partners up at MEMA, which is the state level emergency management agency. However, we are asking all citizens in Rankin County, if you did have damage to your homes, and it has not been reported yet, that you go to our website at www.rankincounty.org. And one of the tabs listed on that website is where you can do what we call a self-report, which will notify us that you had damage. And then we will follow up with that to try to get more information. We also ask that you take pictures, especially before insurance has done any work, so that we can use that within our reporting. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Todd Burks. I have the privilege of serving as the fire chief here in the city. And first of all, I'd like to say that my thoughts and prayers do go out to the family who lost a loved one. You know, we were talking before we knew that we had a fatality, and we were saying how lucky we were that we didn't. And then it just turns out that we did. So we really would like to let you know that we're thinking of the family and we're praying for you guys. My guys come out and did a great job. We had 4 engines running calls. We had rescue units running calls. Myself, Deputy Chief Ron Hobson was out helping clean debris, helping people be removed from homes. So just doing our job, really, is all we were doing. Again, I'd just like to thank our police officers for helping out with doing that. Those guys were doing a great job. Our public works guys were out working hard and, you know, removing trees. And the cool thing to see in times like this is people come together and help each other. So you go through the neighborhoods on Friday and Saturday and everybody's out helping each other clean debris out of the front yard. So if there is a silver lining to this, is that you see the good in people. Thank you guys, and I hope you have a great day.
Thank you, Chief. I'm Nick McClendon, the police chief of the city of Pearl, and I want to give my prayers to the lady that lost her life also. It was a busy time for the police department. As you know, all calls are routed for service through the police department. I want to give a special credit to our communications officers. Within about a 45-minute time, they received around 200 calls for service. So you can just see how busy they were, and that's dispatching fire, some street crews, and the police department. All the additional resources, I think we had an additional 20 resources out that night, helping clean roadways, searching for missing people, unfortunately finding missing people deceased in a yard. So that's a critical incident, a traumatic scenario that they had to deal with along with the firemen. So my thoughts and prayers are with the first responders that had to deal with that also. But it is just encouraging to see everybody come out and work together for the benefit of this great community. I want to appreciate everybody that had a hand in it. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll open the floor for questions if anybody has any questions for anybody up here.
I do. I don't know if Chief McClendon or Jake can answer this. Could you address how the woman died, what we've learned about her passing and the incidents involved with that?
From what we understand, she went outside during the storm for some unknown reason and just become missing. And I think officers and FD later on found her underneath a tree.
Is it possible a tree fell on her or a branch fell on her?
I think that, yes, sir.
Which is just ironic and sad.
Very sad. I'm sure that family's devastated.
Yeah, but it was apparently just a random act that happened.
Well, of course, it was from the storm.
Yeah.
But why she was outside, I do not know.
Mr. Mayor, I don't know if you could address the cleanup efforts. Where does the city stand on getting those parks open and getting debris out of the area?
Well, as I said before, primary is the neighborhoods. So our public works director has a plan. We have some big machines, some track hoes, and some other mini X's that can handle a lot of the debris. And then we've also put some contractors on notice just so we can do it in a short period of time, as short a period of time as possible. We want to have positive results. We don't want trees laying on the road for a month or anything like that. So we want to get out there and get it taken care of. But we have a plan in place. We've already contacted another company that has dump trucks, so they might be seeing some dump trucks in the neighborhood, and us using those track hoes and some of that heavy equipment to clean things up quickly. Once we get the neighborhoods taken care of, then we will move into the areas that are not as non-essential. You know, your parks are essential for quality of life, but when you're talking about getting to and fro and trying to get everything cleaned up around your house, you prefer that first.
Do you know how many streets are presently impacted by the debris?
Probably. I surveyed the city again this morning, and there's probably over 40 streets that has debris on them. Now they're clear. Please know that they are clear. I don't think we have anything obstructing a street at this time, and the only reason we did have a delay was, like I said earlier, because of power lines. So it's one of those situations where it's a very big inconvenience. However, we're going to make sure the job gets done.
What power lines? You still have power lines down?
We still have a few down. And some of them are not live. They're old from the carnage, just from the storm itself.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Do we have any residents who are still without power right now from the storm?
Not that I'm aware of. So this morning we had some that went out again due to the storm that came through last night for a period of time. I've not been contacted about any current out of power as far as our residents are at this time.
Certainly back to the parks. Why, to ask an obvious question, are the parks still closed down?
Closed?
Yes, sir.
Well, it's closed because you have about 20 trees down in one park. And so it's just obstructing the walking trails. I mean, you can't do the things that you would ordinarily do in the park. Right now at Bright Park, and it was on the north side of the city. So the way the wind came through, if you have big trees, it just captured that area. It overwhelmed that park itself. And then Veterans Park didn't have as many trees down. It's off of Old Brandon Road. It's behind the Veterans Affairs building and just north of where we're building the new fire station. It's also been impacted greatly, but not as much as Bright Park.
Do we have a timeline on when the cleanup efforts will begin to remove the debris from the neighborhoods?
So this already happening right now. What we did was try to wait for some of this inclement weather to get out of here today, not put guys in harm's way, but they're mobilizing to neighborhoods currently right now.
Do we know how long that could take? A week, 2 weeks?
Well, I will say this, we're supposed to have cleanup throughout the city during the month of May 4th, and for 2 weeks later. So we're gonna extend cleanup now to the end of the month. And so we'll have the dump open, and then our folks will be coming through, but we're just gonna extend that time to make sure that we get the city back in tip-top shape. They can contact City Hall. We'll be glad to do that and surely put them on a volunteer group. A lot of times you have churches within the community that like to assist as well. The only thing that we ask people not to do is try to take on something that might be outside of their capability. A huge tree or things like that might be unsafe. If you're not experienced with that, make sure that you don't try to tackle something that's out of your wheelhouse.
I know there are a few homes that got trees on top of them still. What should those homeowners do? Just wait for the city to come out and do its thing?
Well, they're probably working with their insurance company. I mean, I know several people that had trees fall on their house. They contacted a tree contractor, and then they made sure they communicated with their insurance company, and their insurance company was able to provide the deductible and things of that nature for contractors to know what they need to be doing. So they need to definitely be in touch with their insurance company. And again, some people know how to tackle those large trees on a house, but you want to be cautious if a tree is on a house, because you don't want to do any structural damage yourself. So I would leave it to the professional if it was a complicated situation, but they need to be in touch with their insurance company.
Did you stress the importance of having homeowners insurance in the case of natural damage?
Yeah, some of these homes that were hit, I've seen several where the large oak trees centered the homes, and it's going to take thousands of dollars in order for it to be repaired. So I can't stress that enough. And unless you have just a ton of money sitting in the bank, I guess, you should always do whatever it takes to keep your homeowner insurance current.
Anybody else?
All right.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you guys for coming. We'll make sure and have the link that you can send your information to EOC if you have damage, and we'll have information on the spring cleanup on our Facebook page shortly after this. Thank you guys.
Okay, so this is what we have going on right now. This is the update that was given to us regarding the damage that was done in the city of Pearl from the storms that happened last week. So they're saying that there is a plan in place for cleanup. Their first priority right now is neighborhoods, and then the parks or public areas second. There was one death in that storm. A woman was outside. They're not sure why she was outside, but unfortunately a tree did fall on her and she passed away. In total, right now, they have 73 down trees that they have counted, several down power lines. 2 parks are closed over in Pearl. In one of those parks, there was 20 trees down alone in just one of those parks. They also said that at the airport last Thursday night that they tracked wind speeds up to 105 miles per hour. Of course, the damage is citywide. There are 44 homes that were damaged or received some type of tree damage. There was one commercial business that received tree damage and one nonprofit building that received tree damage. They're saying that if you have damage and nobody has come out and spoke with you from Rankin County, that you can go to www.rankincounty.org, and there's a place there where you can notify them of damage. They're asking that you please take pictures of the damage so that you have that when you notify them of damage. It also helps with them when they are collecting their damage report and getting all the information, having all the proof that they can then submit to the federal government to possibly get assistance from the federal government regarding all of the damage everywhere over in Pearl. They say if you are a volunteer and you are wanting to help out with cleaning up, they ask that you contact City Hall. And the fire chief got on and he said one of the silver linings in this situation is being out there and seeing the good in people as they get out and they are helping their neighbors, whether it be to remove trees from their driveway, clean up limbs, cover homes with tarps, things like that. But that is the update that we just received from the city of Pearl regarding the storms that came through last Thursday night. So like we said, 73 trees down total. One person was injured. We don't know for sure the extent of their injuries, but we do know that also one person did pass away from a tree falling on them. And again, they say that there is a plan in place to clean up. Their priorities right now are getting the neighborhoods cleaned up and then moving on to the parks or public areas and getting those cleaned up and back open. So that's what we have so far today from the city of Pearl, and we will have more on that later tonight in our newscast. So make sure that you are tuned in there to check that out and find out more details that we can give to you guys. Now we're going to turn to some of the crimes that happened this weekend here in our area, in Ridgeland specifically, where there was a triple homicide that happened on Mother's Day. Absolutely a horrible situation. It always is. I know I probably sound like a broken record, but it always is a horrible situation. So these killings happened just off of Old Canton Road, which is just south of Rice Road. If you look at your your phone screen or TV screen right now, you can see this is Rice Road, and here we have Old Canton Road. The murder happened just south of there. So the police are saying that according to Police Chief Myers, the victims were found dead in their home. They've been identified as 76-year-old Ida Welch, 56-year-old Renee Welch, and 42-year-old Crystal Welch. And as a matter of fact, we have a picture of Crystal who was killed in that homicide. The suspect is in custody, so we can be thankful for that the suspect is in custody, and MBI is assisting the Ridgeland Police Department as the investigation on this continues. We're going to switch gears real quick, and I'm going to bring in Peyton Garrison. She's going to talk to us about what we can expect tonight, tomorrow night, and actually throughout the rest of this week with the weather. Are we going to see any more severe weather? What are we looking for? So I'm going to go to a quick commercial break so we can switch those gears, get Peyton in here, and we will be right back.
WLBT Morning News gets you ready for what's happening outside your door.
Taking a look at our first alert radar this morning.
WLBT Morning News is where you'll find Mississippi's most accurate forecast and how to prepare for news that will impact your day.
Breaking news overnight.
And it's happening right now in Jackson.
On your side with WLBT First Alert weather and anything you need to know for a day with no surprises. Start your day with WLBT Morning News. Weekday mornings from 4:30 to 7 and streaming on the WLBT News app.
I'm in pain.
Real people.
It should be terrifying to all of us.
It's dangerous.
Real problems.
I mean, that's unacceptable.
How can we work to change things?
Real life solutions. Investigate TV Plus.
Watch weekdays at 2:30 on WLBT. WLBT is Mississippi's most trusted station during severe weather.
And we are back. We have Miss Peyton Garrison here with us to give us an update on our forecast. We had some pretty strong storms come through last night.
Yeah, I mean, those storms are a little bit noisy. I was woken up a couple of times last night, more so early this morning, from some of that lightning and thunder. And like you said, we also saw some strong storms as well, especially near Highway 84. The last time I checked power outages a couple minutes ago, we still have over 20,000 customers across the state without power right now, most of those confined to central Mississippi. So again, we started off the day very wet, very stormy, but I mean, this afternoon is shaping up to be a lot better. Our weather has really improved just within the past couple of hours, but we may not be completely done with the rain just yet for today and even tonight.
So what are we looking at then as far as timeline goes?
Well, the one good thing I can say is that since we did have that rain around this morning and even those storms, that really tamper with the atmosphere. It really stabilized things. So while we do expect another round of rain, maybe storms to move in later on this evening, the risk for severe weather does not look very likely. That will be more confined out towards southeastern Louisiana, the Mississippi Gulf Coast. But that next round of rain and storms is starting to develop out towards Texas, the northwestern Gulf of Mexico. So again, we do have more rain on the way. It likely will hold off until after sunset. So any plans early this afternoon, even early this evening, should be good to go.
And later on in the week, we're looking good. We're still looking like we got some wet stuff.
So we may see some more wet weather later on in the week, but once we get past any sort of rain or even some rumbles of thunder later on this evening, again, most of that coming in after sunset, that should give way to pretty nice conditions by the middle of this week. So tomorrow's forecast should be pretty nice. We'll see that sunshine break back out even Wednesday. During the day, Thursday looks to be okay as well, but Friday, this weekend, there may be more rain, maybe some storms around. It's a little uncertain if we'll see severe weather, but I do expect to see more bouts of heavy rain later on this week, but we'll eventually get a little bit of a break here over the next couple of days.
It can happen on the weekend. At least we are getting something.
Yeah, I mean, it's something. We'll take what we can get. I mean, we lucked out with relatively nice weather this past weekend. So I think that we'll have that trade-off, especially since it was Mother's Day weekend, but this upcoming weekend may be a little bit wet at times.
Just a little. It's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay. We do need the rain because, for the trees and wash the pollen and all that stuff.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we can keep up this somewhat active weather pattern over the next several months, especially when you think back to last year, especially in the summer and in the fall. That's where we really started to see our drought conditions increase. I mean, we're on a good track so far this year. I'm just hoping that we can keep it up for the next several months.
That's right. Well, thank you so much, Peyton. I appreciate you coming in. Guys, we're going to take a quick commercial break and come back, and I have some more news and information for you. We'll be right back.
WLBT Morning News gets you ready for what's happening outside your door.
Taking a look at our first alert radar this morning.
WLBT Morning News is where you'll find Mississippi's most accurate forecast and how to prepare for news that will impact your day.
Breaking news overnight.
And it's happening right now in Jackson.
On your side with WLBT First Alert Weather and anything you need to know for a day with no surprises. Start your day with WLBT Morning News. Weekday mornings from 4:30 to 7 and streaming on the WLBT News app.
And I am back. Hello, everyone. Cara, Shirley here with WLBT Plus. I am your digital news desk host, here to give you some information, some updates on some of these stories and crimes that have happened in our area over the weekend. I spoke earlier about the triple homicide that happened in Ridgeland. A suspect is in custody for that, and there is also another suspect that is in custody, but he actually he turned himself in. So the man was accused of shooting an 18-year-old at a Jackson apartment complex. So according to police, a 25-year-old Minnie Olgbala, I'm saying that wrong, I apologize, he was shot he shot a teenager at the Pine Ridge Garden apartment complex on Friday. He was detained shortly after, but he escaped police custody. Now, according to Hinds County Sheriff Tyree Jones, the suspect did turn himself in on Saturday. He's charged with aggravated assault. He is also charged with shooting into a dwelling and escape. Sheriff Jones says that the victim is in stable condition and his identity has not been released. The face that you are seeing on your screen right now, that is the suspect who shot the teenager, or who allegedly shot the teenager who turned himself in on Saturday. So he is back in custody. We are thankful for that. Another situation that happened on I-55 in Copiah County on Sunday morning, according to the Department of Public Safety, it happened near Hazelhurst, or in Hazelhurst, near the Gallman exit. So WLBT was at the scene and saw multiple bullet holes in the windows of a car. And according to the Department of Public Safety, 2 people were found dead. So this is being treated as a homicide investigation. The identities of the victims have not yet been released. As soon as they are released to us, we will, of course, update the public. And the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation is going to be handling this case. We're taking a little switch now, going over and looking at what's happening at the Capitol. So today, Governor Reeves has until the end of the day to sign newly passed bills into law. So this includes the SAFER Act. And what this would do would put restrictions on where transgender students are able to go in a public school settings. It also includes the use of bathrooms, locker rooms, and dorms at public schools and universities. The bill says that people would only be allowed to go into spaces that correspond to their sex that is assigned at birth. And if someone violates the policy, they could be sued. So he has until the end of today, Governor Reeves does, to sign that bill into effect. And of course, we are watching and we will keep you updated on what happens with that. Now, Peyton was talking with us earlier about the rain and the ton of rain that we have received, but it is much needed rain that we have received. Because last year we had a major drought, and it really impacted farmers across our state. But they're saying now that they are making recovery efforts because of the rainfall that we have received. Brenda Lingham, she is a Smith County farmer, and unfortunately last year she lost 90% of her crops in her 4 fields and because of the drought. It says this year's plantings are a result of costly efforts to replace the dirt that was scorched and dry from the intense sun and the lack of heat. You know, we think about, of course, vegetation not being able to grow or vegetation dying because of the droughts and not getting the adequate water supply. But I didn't even think about, you know, the ground being scorched and dry and the nutrients in the ground, or the ground losing the nutrients to be able to replenish crops. But Miss Brenda says right now she has squash, tomatoes. There is nothing better than a good summertime tomato. Am I right? So she has squash, watermelons, tomatoes, and zucchini growing. And she is hoping for even more rain this season to make it even better than it already is.
I think we've gotten it to where we can maybe have a bumper crop this year, and I know that due to the drought, the impact of the prices has increased, and I say I'm sorry, but there's nothing we can do about it.
So drought.gov reports that is reporting no drought conditions for the state this month, which is good news, but I think we could all probably guess that with all the rain that we have had. And while the stormy weather is no fun and the severe storms are no fun, we do need this rain to help us recover from last year. So very grateful for the rain that we are getting. So earlier in the show today, we showed you the press release that came from Pearl, where they were talking about the damage that was in the city of Pearl. Well, MEMA has also released information on their assessments on last Thursday night's severe weather. In addition to that, they released information on the tornadoes from April the 18th through April the 11th. So they say during that time frame, the state had 13 tornadoes and 2 people lost their lives. The tornado impacted 6 counties, including Hinds, Madison, and Scott counties. And some of the damage from those storms included flooding, straight line winds, and tornadoes. Again, this is information that was released on the April 8th through 11th storms, and they are continuing to look at or continuing their assessments rather on last Thursday night storms. And did you guys see the Northern Lights this past weekend? I did not, and I was very disappointed in that. I went outside, took my camera, pointed up to the sky, did all the things I was supposed to do, and never saw anything. But we did get some beautiful pictures here of people that did capture the Northern Lights. So it is a very rare thing to see here in Mississippi, if ever. It may have been a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that I missed there, of course. But they say that it was caused by one of the largest geomagnetic storms in more than 20 years. But the pictures I saw online, people posting everything online, I was saying to myself, there's no way, I'm not picking this up on my camera, there's no way this is really happening. People are editing their pictures with the Northern Lights in the South app or something. I don't know. I'm being facetious. There's not really an app that called that. I don't think there is. But the pictures were gorgeous. I'm sure if you guys have any that you would like to share with us, you can go to our website, wlbt.com, and you can submit your pictures there. We would love to see them, even if I am slightly jealous of your beautiful pictures and being able to capture that. But it was a sight to behold. What we are going to go to now is I had an interview earlier today, and I spoke with the Homeland Security Investigations on their new iGuardian program. I spoke with Special Agent Jessica Zappardo, and we talked about how, with it being summertime, kids having more access, unfiltered or unrestricted access to the internet or to phone, to social media, to games. And it's a way that this iGuardian program is a way to educate not only parents but also children and anybody that may be a caretaker of a child on signs of what to look for, how to keep kids safe. And we discussed the online exploitation schemes and trends, like sextortion, internet safety, and the prevalence of online child sexual exploitation and abuse, with this new Department of Homeland Security outreach program. So right now we are going to go ahead and take it over to that interview. If you guys have any questions, even though it is pre-recorded, I ask you to please, if you have any questions, go ahead and put those in the chat here on Facebook, or if you're watching on YouTube, because I have promised to answer those questions for you. I have some more information once this interview is done. So let's go ahead and take it over to the Special Agent. Welcome back to WLBT Plus, everybody. My name is Cara Shirley. I am your digital news desk host, and I am joined with a Special Agent Jessica Zappardo, and she is with the Homeland Security Homeland Security Investigations. Is that correct? Did I say that right, Jessica?
That's correct. Yeah, you could call us HSI.
HSI. You know what? That sounds a lot easier. So it's a lot less of a mouthful. So you guys have a thing that you were doing this summer that you were trying to reach out to teens, educate teens, parents, anybody who oversees teens, teachers, things like that. And it's called Know to Protect. Can you tell me a little bit more about it?
Yeah, so Know to Protect is through the Department of Homeland Security, and it is a national public awareness campaign to help raise awareness of the dangers of the internet, and also to implement preventative strategies to help children from becoming victimized.
And so when you say children becoming victimized, what are you talking about? What kind of crimes are happening against kids? Which I'm sure we all know about them, but just kind of refresh our memory. What kind of crimes are happening against kids with the internet?
The main type of crimes that are happening against kids on the internet is online child exploitation and abuse. It's predators are meeting kids on the internet, and they're grooming them and engaging in sexually explicit dialogue and having them send images or videos and ultimately exploiting the children online.
And what's the age range of the kids that you are seeing being primarily victimized here?
I mean, it would be hard to say because this crime affects all ages of children, you know, from 10 to teenagers up to 17, 18 years old.
Wow. See, that's scary for me because I have a 16-year-old and a 13-year-old daughters, and they are very much on that phone, on the internet and the social media and things like that. So what are some ways that I, as their parent, can help to keep them safe or to really educate them about the dangers?
Yeah, I agree with you. It is scary because really any apps that have a chat feature puts children at risk. And some of the things you can do as a parent is, number one, educate your kids. Tell them about the dangers that are out there. Tell them that they are vulnerable and there are bad guys on the internet looking to hurt them and exploit them. Some of the other things you could do is check their privacy settings. Make sure their profiles are set to private. Turn off their location services unless it's an app where you use to track them and their locations. But
right.
Other apps, like, they don't need to have a location service on. Make sure they know who they're talking to. They actually know their friends list in real life. And as a parent, it's important to kind of go behind them and constantly check up on them and see what they're doing, talk to them about what they're doing, see who they're talking to, and just things like that so that you're aware as well.
Now I see here that in 2023, the Child Exploitation Investigation Unit, which is part of HSI, you identified and or recovered over 1,800 child victims in child exploitation investigations. And that is a scary number. But I guess one of the positives is you do have the word recovered in there, that you recovered these kids. So tell us exactly what you guys do when it gets to a point, past the point of parents being able to intervene, I guess.
Yeah, and look, just even one kid being identified or exploited and identified is, too many, I think, in everyone's opinion. So the fact that that number is that high, it is alarming, but it's good because it means, we're out there and we're working, and HSI is working to identify and locate these victims. So something that's important is to talk to your kids and let them know the importance of coming and telling somebody that they trust, whether it's a parent, a teacher, a relative, and telling somebody that they trust that this is happening. So that way, the parent or the adult can contact the police and get us involved. And then from that point, we have a very victim-centered approach to investigating these types of crimes. You know, these children are not necessarily gonna get in trouble with us if they're being coerced to send photos or videos.
Right.
So it is important that they report it, and then we will take the investigation and try to identify the offender.
Awesome. So you guys are down in New Orleans, correct? But you cover many states. How many states do you cover?
Our office covers Louisiana, Arkansas, and Mississippi. So we cover 3 states.
You cover 3 states. Wow, that is a lot. That's a lot of kids. That's a lot of kids to cover and trying to keep safe. So why it's so important for parents to be involved in their children's online activity, because it takes the involvement of the parent to know what is going on, so that you know, maybe you guys don't have a job one day with what you are doing. But
yeah. And it really does. It's so important that parents are talking to their kids about this. You know, it's got to be a constant evolving conversation, you know, especially as they get older, and talking to them about the different dangers they face at different ages, and, you know, and knowing how to report people, block people, and then contact the police, you know, because what's so scary is when the kids feel like they want to handle it themselves, and then, you know, we get involved, and it's late in the game.
Yes. So one of the abbreviations that you guys use within your company and your program is the CSEA. Now, can you tell me exactly what that means?
Yeah, so that stands for Child Sexual Exploitation and Abuse, and it just kind of covers the online exploitation and abuse that we're seeing. Some of the trends we're seeing with child exploitation online, one of the big ones is sextortion, and that is where an adult will coerce or convince a child to take nude photos, send them out, and then that adult, that predator, will turn around and say, okay, I have these photos of you, I'm going to send it to your school, tell all your friends, tell your family, if you don't do these things for me. Sometimes it's financial based, and sometimes it's just in order to obtain more photos and videos of that child. They use it to create fear and kind of a control over these kids. One of the other things we're seeing that's really popular is on the gaming platforms. It might start out as like an innocent conversation about the game, and then the predator will try to move the conversation off to another platform to chat, something a little bit more, I guess, discreet or safer for the predator, but more dangerous for the child. And so that's a huge red flag when somebody's chatting with you on, just say, a Roblox or Minecraft, and then they're trying to move you off of that platform to another app to communicate on. That's usually where that exploitation occurs, in that other app.
Wow.
And you know, especially with the gaming things, I feel like it should be mentioned that there are predators out there who are exchanging, whether it's Robux or other video game credits, for the child to produce exploitation materials of themselves and send it out.
Wow. I would have never thought about that. I mean, I knew that there were predators out there, and especially within those games, and starting those conversations like that, but I would have never thought about them actually using the exchange of something as simple as a gaming credit to get a child like that.
Yeah, and you know, they try, I mean, what we've seen, they try to justify it as, well, like, you're just sending me a photo. It's not like I'm face to face with you. It's safer, but we all know, that's not true. And
Right.
kids are vulnerable. And,
Yes.
and they don't realize.
So what does a parent do when, let's say they hear this conversation that we're having today, and they go and they check their children's devices or whatever, and they find evidence of this happening with their child? What do they do?
So there are several things that parents can do. If they find evidence of it, the most important thing is to save that evidence. The screen names, the messages, especially if the predator. And then they can contact their local police department. That would be the first step in getting this reported and investigated.
Why do you think that this is such a important topic to talk about now? Well, I mean, it's an important topic all year around, right? But right now, you guys are really trying to make sure that this information gets out there. Why is now so important?
Now is really important because the school year is coming to an end, summer's starting, kids are gonna be online more. And, a lot of kids might be home alone and have unsupervised access to the internet. So it's really important to do this big push before summer starts, to keep your kids safe. Oftentimes we do see an increase in the number of reports during the summer because of that.
So if I know that you guys, your goal is to educate children, parents, educators, anybody that really deals with children who have access to the internet. How can they get in touch with you to maybe get more information, or to maybe have you guys come and speak with their group or organization?
Yeah, so we have Project iGuardian, which is another outreach campaign under Note to Protect, where you can have an HSI special agent or a subject matter expert from HSI come and speak to your school or your nonprofit, and it just raises education and awareness about the dangers of the internet. The best way to get in touch with that is to request a presentation through our email address, and it is iGuardian, IGUARDIAN, HSI, NOLA, NOLA, at hsi.dhs.gov. It's a very long email address.
It is long, but if anybody misses it, I'll make sure I put it on the bottom of the screen there when we air it so they can get this. I really appreciate you speaking with me this morning. I know we've had a few hiccups, but that happens, such as life, right? Is there anything else that we didn't hit on that you would like to add?
I think I just want to remind parents to just have that conversation with your kids. You know your kids best. Their maturity levels. Being online is like a privilege, and I feel like it's just important for you to educate your kids and just have a continuous dialogue with them about the safeties and of the internet and the dangers that are out there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again for speaking with me this morning. This is Special Agent Jessica Sapardo, and they are with HSI, the Homeland Security Investigations, and they have a goal of keeping our kids safe from exploitation, sexploitation, and things that could even happen far worse than that. So we appreciate your time. We appreciate you giving us this information. And again, I'll put that email address up if anyone wants to reach out to you guys so they can get the information from you directly. Thank you so much. You have a great day.
You too.
So I think there was a lot of great information there on how to keep our kids safe online. There are so many ways that child predators can get to our kids, and we as parents have we really just have no idea. And so if you want more information about that, I will make sure I also put their email address in the links, but you can reach out to them and get some more information on how to prevent this from happening with your child or with children that you know that you may deal with on a day-to-day basis. Different things like that. I do have some breaking news for you right now, which we're going to go to. The triple homicide that we reported to you earlier in the show today. The suspect wanted in connection with that triple homicide has been killed. So on Monday, the Ridgeland Police Department, today they announced that Ivory James Welch III was shot and killed after getting into a gunfight with Arizona state troopers. Ridgeland police officer Brian Myers says that the officers received a call about the homicide around 3:30 p.m. on Sunday off Old Canton Road, just south of Rice Road. We told you about that. And according to the chief, the victims were Ida Thomas Welch, who was she was 76. Vicky Renee Welch was 55, and then Crystal Lynn Welch, who was 42, and she is pictured here on your screen. So actually Crystal Welch was a member of the Mississippi ACLU Board of Directors since 2023, and the executive director of the ACLU Mississippi, Javaris Dort, remembers Crystal as an enthusiastic leader and a great friend. So an arrest warrant was issued for Welch on, let me get back to where I was. I'm sorry, I had to look away. The arrest warrant was issued, and the U.S. Marshal Task Force began searching for the suspect, and he managed to actually get to Arizona before he was caught, which is crazy. But yes, he got to Arizona before he was found, and then he got into a shootout with the Arizona Department of Public Safety, and he was shot and killed. The chief says this investigation is a great example of how teamwork in law enforcement, as well as a great relationship with our media outlets, affords us swift justice for a grieving family. This horrific event will have a lasting effect on this family, the officers involved in the investigation, as well as our brothers in Arizona law enforcement. So this is the individual who was wanted in connection with the triple homicide that happened in Ridgeland, and he has been shot and killed in Arizona. His name again is James Welch. Making sure I'm giving you the guys the correct information because this was just released to us. So he was captured, or he was killed in Arizona after getting into a shootout with the Arizona Department of Public Safety. So we are very glad that he is that justice seems to have been served in this situation. And family, again, is in our prayers and in our thoughts. This is a horrific situation that happened. You just don't fathom it. But again, his name, the suspect's name is Ivory James Welch III. And he was shot and killed in Arizona by the Arizona Department of Public Safety. And now I see your questions here in the comments on Facebook. I am not. We do not know. We have not been told if he is related to the family. We understand that the names are there as far as the name Welch, but we have not been given information on whether or not he is related to the family. If we get that information, we will certainly update you on that. But his name again, Ivory James Welch, and he has been shot and killed in Arizona by the Arizona state troopers. So, but like I said, you guys are making comments or saying that he is related. We don't have that information. We haven't confirmed it. Let's say that. And as soon as we get that information confirmed, we will update you all. So make sure you stay tuned in here to WLBT. You keep an eye out on our newscast later today. Download the WLBT app if you haven't already so that you can get those breaking news notifications, and keep it tuned in here. We are going to keep you updated on this story as well as the other ones that we have told you about today in our later newscast, and we will of course continue to follow them. That is the end of WLBT Plus today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and joining me, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.